Alright, so let's continue on, and I'm going to unwrap the chest. Let me try to work with the chest area and the back because it's kind of, you can't really figure this out, but I'm gonna go and do it along with you guys so you guys can see when I run into issues, how you guys can fix them. So I'm just gonna wing this right now because my model has this little collar thing. I'm not gonna include this into like the front chest area or the back. I'm gonna let that be its own separate piece. So I'm gonna cut that separate. So right now I'm wanna focus on the chest area right here. And so the first obvious piece I can cut is gonna be somewhere along here, all the way around. Maybe that one. Okay, so I'm gonna have a seam here. So I'm probably gonna give them a belt, like you guys saw on the other. If you have me on Facebook, I already textured this model, and I think I give them a belt. So giving them certain textures on certain areas can help you, just creatively get rid of that edge or that crease that you see when you have two textures meeting each other. So I added a belt so that there's no crease there. It's just a belt. So I'm gonna cut it there, or maybe I can cut it here. I'm not sure. I'm gonna give them a belt, so I'll do it up here. So then I'm just gonna cut it. So now I have my crease there, and then I'm obviously gonna need to cut it somewhere down here so I can separate the front of the chest from the back. So I'm gonna do that right now. I'm gonna, if you double click, the edge will go all the way to the bottom and all the way to the hand. So I mean, you could do that and then just hold control and deselect the ones you don't need. That could probably be faster than selecting each one individually. Hit 4 so I can see what's happening in here. Don't need that one. And make sure that this edge is meeting up with the seams, which it is, so I'm good there. And then I don't need all of this down here, so just control and deselect all that. And then from here, okay, it's touching the seam and it's going in here and it's touching the inner seam. Hope so. Okay, and then just cut. Hit 5. So now I have that cut so I can separate the front from the back. So I need to do the same thing to this side. I'm actually just gonna hold Control Shift and click these guys. So select that one. Oh crap. Hit 4 so I can see what's going on here. This one is going into this one to this one. Now on this side I haven't cut that seam around here, around his shoulder, but that'll be okay. Cut there. Then I'm gonna do that one then. I'm gonna cut around his shoulder. So cut that one. Because it needs an area to separate, so I'm gonna separate it from there. And then the line is coming up, is going around to the back, and we need to separate the back area. So we need a cut somewhere along this line here, all the way across. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that one. Starting from here, go all the way across. Whoa. And if you guys don't understand how I'm cutting this right now, it's alright, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you why I'm cutting it this way. That way you guys can see when I unwrap it, how it unwrapped and why it unwrapped that way, because of the way that this thing was being cut. Control Shift, Control Shift, and that's it. Cut. Okay, so now technically I could remove the back area, right? Because I have all this. This is all one separate piece I can just remove. So it's coming in here, coming out. So I could remove the back now, but I still have this collar piece, which I don't want to work with. So for the front piece, I'm just gonna come in here and maybe go this way. Let me see, which way can I go? I can come to this side and then go up here, come down, and then come all the way down and then go back. I can do it that way. I'm gonna cut that seam, so I have that cut out. And I'm gonna find a way to connect these two. So I'm gonna select that one, select this one, cut. You know, you can do it in separate pieces as long as they all connect properly. You know, they have to follow the edge flow of it. I can't just leave those, because right now if I cut it, you know, they have nowhere to go. So I need to split them properly. This one has to split. I can go this way and then over here. So I'm probably gonna do it this way, and then connect the flow there. So cut. So there. Now I have that piece. So how do I do it? I went back. So come forward. Make sure you're selecting the correct edge. Something like that. And then cut. And that's it. Now we take a look at this. You can see that I can remove this whole section from the front, right? So I'm actually going to get an edge here, but it's okay because this area is going to be skin and this area is going to be skin. And then down here, I mean, this is going to be his mask. So skin and skin, you probably won't see a seam there. And then all this is all going to be one of the same textures on his clothing. So it's all going to be, you know, black colored. So you probably won't see that seam here. But you know, like I said, you guys can find other ways to cut it. If you guys don't have this the collar here, you guys probably could have gone just straight and meet here on the neck, and then go around his neck and then just go straight out. But because I have this collar, I have to go around it. So then from here, now I have to select all my faces. I think the way I can do it is because I already have this cut. I can go and go to UV, and if I select that UV, it doesn't have it here, to UV shell. Okay, yeah. So I went right click, and instead of going into all these vertices, let me see if it works though. To shell. Oh no, it doesn't work. I thought it would. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so it selected all of this stuff, but let me see if I can select just the face. Go to UVs, UV to shell. Okay, so it's selecting just the UVs in the back, which is cool, but I want to see if there's a way I can select just the faces. I haven't done this, so let me see here. Great. And I can't just grab these, can I? Grab and move them? Oh, I can. Okay. So that's a shortcut. Instead of coming in here to you know, go to face and then select all the faces, you know, that make up the back, you know, I have to go in here, come in here, blah blah blah, make sure I select all the right ones. Instead of doing all of this, which is you can see is gonna take a long time, I went ahead because it's already split. So because I have a nice cut around it, I went to the UVs, which the UVs are already cut. Now remember, the UVs are not the same as the edges or polygons. They're just a separate thing from the model. They're just like coordinates that tell the program how to apply the image to it. So now that I cut it, I selected one UV and then go control right click to UV shell. So the shell is just what's within that cut whole section of it. Okay, and then what I did here, I went to the texture editor and then just grab the move tool. They were in here, so you can just grab them and move them out because they're already they're cut. So they're cut separately from these. If you still have something attached to it, it means you didn't cut them all the way around to make a separate piece. You need to cut them so that they're separated. And then once you separate them here, now you can actually go to face and then drag around them and then check it out. It actually selected all of those faces that we need, right? Because the shell is the same as, they're in the same position as the polygon, so that's why we can just right click face. And then now I can project it. So I'm going to project it. You can see the blue arrow. It's the easiest area where I have the most, uh, the flat. It almost looks flat. If we did it from this side, we project it from the Z. So let's go ahead and open the texture editor so we can see it. Go to create UVs planar mapping, and then I'm going to project now from the Z axis because that's the blue arrow, and hit project. And then now check it out. Now we have the back. This is the back of it. So make sure you don't move the polygon section. Right click, always go to UVs. That should be a habit. Right click to shell, and then you can move it out. So make sure you don't deselect. If you deselect it, let's say this was in here and I deselected, I'm like, oh crap, now I can't move it. You can still try to find one of them that's part of the shell. Right click UV, then control right click to shell, and then that will grab one of your shells, and then you can move it out. Now here's the thing, here's the tricky part. You don't want to have overlapping UVs, because you can see here we have this part going out, and then here in the cloth it goes back in. So we're gonna have these UVs that are overlapping. So if I come in here and you select this button here, it says toggle shaded UV display. If I do this, now if it looks clean here, it means that the UVs are nicely flat. But you can see here where we have darker areas, purple, it means these UVs are overlapping. Now we don't want to have this, because what happens when we add the picture over this, and what's going to happen here in this section? It's going to look very weird, and it's just going to be stretched, and it's not going to work for us. So if you go to texture, now you can check this out. It's looking a little bit better, right? A lot better. You can see it's pretty even. Now these are still slightly bigger. You see the size of the squares, they're slightly bigger than these, but they're fairly similar, so it's okay. I'll show you how to make them even, but for right now, this looks pretty good. So now we need to project the front, right? We need to do the same thing with the front, but first let's find a way to select the model, fix these overlapping areas. So I think the way I can do this is always go to UVs. I'm gonna select all these overlapping UVs. Let me see if it'll work this way. I think I can just do polygons and unwrap again, or unfold. Okay, not that way. Maybe relax. I think if I do a relax, no. Okay, I'm going to do unfold to the whole shell again. Okay, so I did, let me undo that. Because they're overlapping, I can unfold it one more time, and then this should make it the proper way. So go unfold, and now you can see it flipped it upside down, and it sort of rotated. So the way I can fix this is go to E, you know, the tools still work, and I can rotate this the right way. So sort of like that. You know, don't worry about all this being, you know, offside or kind of crooked. It's okay. We're going to leave that for now. We'll fix this later. But I think I could have, let me try another technique. I think I can just hold this, like both of these can be pinned down, and then it can just unfold the rest of it. Let me try that technique. So unfold. Just trying something here. So pin selected UVs. Okay, there we go. That's much better. So check this out. Because it flipped everything, you know, I can do it that way. You know, the way I showed you, you know, grab everything to shell and then, you know, unfold. But because I didn't like the way, you know, the way it flipped it, and then it was a little bit, you know, crooked. So the way to fix that is I can leave this the way it is. I don't want this to flip or move or anything. The only thing I want to unfold is, you know, the arm or the shoulder area. I want this to unfold. So if there was a way to, like I showed you here, unfold options, I want to pin the selected UV. So I selected this UV and I selected the bottom one. So those are like, imagine they're nailed down. So if I do an unfold, what's gonna happen? It's gonna unfold these out, and it's gonna unfold away, right? So that's what you want. Unfold. Oh, great. I didn't do it. Pin selected UVs and then apply. So then now everything is unfolded and everything is good. Now the reason why I went from red to blue was because it was sort of inside out, which you can flip it here. You have these I don't know, this is flip your UVs vertically. It's alright, don't worry about that. But yeah, if you ever want to flip your vertices, your UVs like a certain way, you can do it through this way. You can flip them horizontally. Yeah, this is how you do it. So I'm flipping this horizontally, kind of like like this, but because everything is pretty even, it just flips, you know, the other way. Or I can flip it this way like this. All right. So that's how you do it. You can rotate it. So just look at the arrows in the direction that it's rotating. You can rotate it the other way. I'm happy with this. So now let's work on the front side. This is actually really good. So I can just grab a UV to shell and move it out and say, oh crap. Move this out with the arm, which we're happy with. And this is the right arm, so I'm gonna keep it like this. Make sure you know, you have to keep it organized. This is the right arm, so I'm gonna keep it here. I can rotate this a little bit like that, so I know it belongs there. So let's focus on the front part. I'm gonna try the same technique. UVs, grab one of these, and then right click. I'm sorry, control right click, and then to UV shell. And that grabbed everything in the front. Go to my UV texture editor, grab everything, move it out. Now from here, remember these are my UVs, so I can now go right click and go to faces, and then just drag over all these faces. Make sure you don't miss anything. And that looks good. And then I'm gonna go to project. So let's take a look here. Go to create UVs planar mapping and project this from the z-axis this way. Project, boom. Now we have the front of it. Again, I can go into UVs, select one UV, control right click to shell, and then move it out. Now again, we're having all these overlapping stuff here, which we don't want. So let's go ahead and try that same technique. I'm gonna grab this one and this one, and notice that it's right in the middle because it needs to unfold evenly. So polygons, unfold option box, pin selected UV, and then apply. Let's see what happens, and boom, that looks pretty good. It unfolded everything nicely. And let's take a look how this looks now. And it looks pretty decent. Let me hide this. So this is looking good. The back is looking good. And his right arm is looking good. And that's how you unfold this. Now you can see why I cut it the way that I cut it, right? Now it's starting to make sense. I needed to cut it here and all the way around in the front. Let me hide the textures. And I cut it all the way around like this, and then it cuts through there because that one was already cut. It cuts to the bottom, and then I can separate this front part. You see it comes all the way around like this, and I can remove the front part, and then from the back same thing. You can see how it's already cut all the way around. Remove it out, pop it out, and then project it from the side. That's going to give you the biggest area to work with. Now see, it wouldn't make sense to project this from the top because, you know, what do you see from the top? Just the shoulders. You know, you don't want to project it from this side because what do you see? You know, it's just barely the side of this. So if you project it from this side, you know, just choose the area that has the biggest amount of polygons. That's almost close to being flat. Alright, now if you have a sphere or something like that, you know, you're going to be doing a lot of unfold like the head. I'm going to show you the head separately, so, you know, don't worry about that. So that's how you unfold the chest area. And we're going to worry about the collar separately. And I think that's it. And you guys can check it out. You can see the numbers are very clean and clear. You can see there's squares here. Nothing is too stretched here. I don't see anything like this. This is all really, really distorted. So nothing looks that bad. Everything is clean and clear and under control. And that's it. I'll check you guys out in the next video. I'm going to unwrap the legs. And yep, that's it. So like, subscribe, check me out on Facebook, facebook.com/animationmethods. And like I said, look for my book that's coming out next month, 2012. Catch you later, alligator.